Hello everyone, this is Brittany Depew, and today we will be exploring Field-Based Activity 4 for Dr. Bourne's class EDU 541 School and Society. This activity focuses on comprehensive school reform that involves changes in every aspect of school operations from school governance to classroom instruction. We will then be examining the issue of school choice, such as homeschools, charter schools, cyber schools, traditional schools, and magnet schools in relationship to competition for scarce resources such as funding. With comprehensive school reforms came the introduction of school choice. Families have choices depending on the area that they reside in. Today there are options of homeschooling, charter schools, cyber schools, and magnet schools. These various schools are now in competition for scarce resources such as funding. Funding is dispersed differently depending on the state and school districts. Some states provide funding per student, and those funds follow the student to whichever school they move to. Another issue with funding is that some funds are not dispersed to these various schools of choice to assist with services, as such would be needed with a special education student or a handicapped student, as Paul Hill states in the journal article, Doing School Choice Right. Arguments go back and forth if choice is right to aid in raising the bar for the field of education. Some say that these new schools are not held accountable as a traditional school or follow the same standards. Others say that they should also ensure that it actually succeeds. With that being said, school choice will be here to stay, and what needs to occur now is more intervention with funding and accountability to ensure that these schools are proper for our students, just as a public school is supposed to be. Comprehensive school reforms have been common throughout the years in hopes of changing the education system for the betterment of students. These various versions of reforms have grown since A Nation at Risk was introduced in 1983, according to Lisa Starosina. Laura DeSimon of Vanderbilt University explained that these first few waves of reforms focused on increasing standards, an increase in salaries, an increase of core requirements, and lengthened school days and year. As these reforms continued, school and families' relationships were focused on, as well as attracting and retaining teachers, upgrading teacher education programs, and addressing various student needs. Further reforms have focused on changing teaching practices and classroom instruction. When talking with my field educator, I learned that competition for funding in her school is more between counties and then between individual school districts than with different types of schools. In regard to funding, the state provides funds to each classroom to buy supplies that are needed. The funds are not enough to cover all needs in the classroom, and my field educator stated that there is required curriculum that she has to then buy the supplies personally out of her own pocket in order to fulfill it. If additional funds are needed school-wide, the school approaches the faculty senate. Any additional funding provided to the county by the state is dispersed by the county to where it is needed. Recently, money has been invested for technology and innovation. Her state just approved to open 3 charter schools next year with additional approval from county boards. She further explained to me that there is little availability for school choice in regard to cyber schools, magnet schools, homeschooling, and charter schools in her state, as students mostly attend the public schools. In her county, there is school choice between the other schools in the district. A family could fill out paperwork in the county requesting special permission to attend another school in the district. Permission is typically granted unless it would cause the school to hire another teacher and open another class. With several permissions being granted, overcrowding in one school has been noted, and discussions of redistricting have been occurring. In regard to reforms, my field educator stated that it occurs either statewide or countywide. One change that is currently occurring statewide is for cameras to be placed in all hallways and all self-contained special education classrooms after an unfortunate incident occurred. Change that is occurring countywide is the special education referral system. An abundance of students were being referred without much differentiation in the classroom to assist students first. Data was not being provided either to support the referral. Now documentation and research must be provided, as well as 2 goals for the student. These goals must be interventions to assist the student. Once this is in place, they are implemented and another meeting is held 5 to 9 weeks later to see if progress was made or not. If the interventions did not help, then testing will be the next step. This change has not gone over well with teachers in the county, according to my field educator, as it is more work. She explained, though, that the change is needed as they have a high percentage of students that are provided with services, and abundance of referrals delays the process for students that actually qualify for services. In regard to establishing 3 teaching goals, I first and foremost want to stay up to date with any changes or reforms occurring in the state as well as with the budget. My field educator stated how she wished she was more in the loop with the budget and other reforms. So I believe that this is important and hope to stay actively involved. Another goal that I have is to help promote more fundraising at my future school to help with providing supplies to educate students. This would be beneficial to alleviate out-of-pocket spending for teachers. My last goal would be to learn how to write for grants to help my future school receive funds for various needs or implement a researched reform. This could be very beneficial in ensuring that the school could receive needed funding for various aspects. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch my field-based activity 4. The music throughout the video is provided by Audionautics.com, and the pictures are provided by Pexels.com.